Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Alright, today I've got myself an handheld echo blower here that's been sitting for an awfully long time. And I was told that it just needs some finagling with the carburetor and it could be gummed up, maybe you need to rebuild. But you guys know how I like to do on this channel. I don't like to bother rebuilding the carburetors if I don't have to. So I reached out to my friends over at HiPa and they sent me a brand spanking new carburetor, and this is a maintenance kit. So we're gonna open this thing up and see what it all includes and see if we can't get this thing going again. All right. Say a spark plug already, filter, there's the carburetor, and various hoses, a filter, should be everything I need here. So that's really nice. So HiPa tells me that this is a pretty close match and that it should work on here. So we're gonna take it apart and see how close it is and make sure it mounts up easily, and make sure it runs okay afterwards. I came with gaskets, obviously, for the front and rear. Oh, I like that it comes with extra primer balls. That's really nice too. Ooh, yeah. Yummy. That certainly has been sitting for a while. Alright, we got a couple Phillips screws. It's pretty standard. About every small engine has sort of the same setup where the screws go through the carburetor and then there's gaskets sandwiched on both sides of the carburetor. So nothing unusual so far. Jeez. Stiff. Okay, got your little choke assembly there. Pretty simple. And it looks like we got some linkage here we're gonna have to deal with. Got your throttle linkage here. Some old moldy hoses. Primer ball at the bottom. So we gotta remember the orientation of the hoses here. Everything looks like two hoses coming up into the carburetor, and then throttle linkage. So we'll pull that throttle linkage off like that, and then pull these hoses off. That came off really easy. And there it is. That's about as easy as it gets. All right, let's see if we can't get these hoses out of here. Wow, those are crusty. Alright, still had the filter in there. Okay, it's pretty empty, pretty dry in there already, so I guess I don't have to worry about cleaning it out. Whoever had it stored must have already dumped it all, or it leaked out, one of the two. Alright, there's also, you can see here there's a paper gasket behind this spacer plate. I don't have another one of those, so I'm going to leave that one alone, and I'm going to assume that's okay for now. So I'm going to close my eyes and pretend I don't see that. But if we get everything back together, and if I still have issues, maybe like a vacuum leak issue, then I'll have to take it all apart and check this. But as of right now, I don't have anything to replace that with, so we're going to leave it alone. We're going to set the hoses up now, and with the old ones here, you kind of want to do kind of a mirror image as long as it was set up right. So it's got a pickup right here, as you see, and then it's got a return. I messed around, these not in the right order, but you've got a breather, which is going to be this guy. So this is going to stick out of the tank, and then your filter, this will be your pickup. I'm getting this dirty already. Grubby hands. That's going to be inside the tank. This is going to be long to make sure it catches all the fuel at the bottom. And then you've got a return. So when you put this in here, make sure you put these in the right order on the new carburetor. So if we're comparing these two carburetors, your fuel in from the tank will be here and your return is going to be there. But these look pretty darn identical. A little bit of difference with the adjustment screws, but the placement's the same, so I'm not worried about that. And then your pickup and return and your throttle. It looks like the throttle is a little bit different, but I may be able to just unscrew that and then turn that around the other way. So that shouldn't be an issue. Alright, I got the little bracket here for the throttle linkage off, and we want to match the old one so that way we get it right in the same place. So if you see there, it's not exactly round, and it's hard to see in the camera. It's got a little flat spot on it. So basically you want to take it and do 180 and go around to the other side. That is it's much closer that way. It's not perfect, but we might be able to work with that. So that's where we're going to leave it for now, and if we have to, adjust it later. But much easier to do it now while it's out of the blower. And just put your screw back in here, and then we'll get to installing this. Okay, I'm gonna install pickup in. Remember which one it is. I'm leaving my return a little bit long, that way I know my pickup is short. And then you see this little groove around here. The plastic of the tank sits right inside of that little groove. So shove it down in here like so. You may need a little persuasion with a flat tip screwdriver. Alright, make sure when you get your new gasket you match it up correctly. There's a little return hole, vent hole, and all that stuff. So as long as it matches up those holes, it also helps to look at the old gasket and see what it is, because the other gasket it comes with is for the other side. Well, actually, that's it. Yeah, see, that doesn't work. It doesn't line up no matter which way you do it. So make sure you guys are using the right gasket for that little vent hole. And then we're gonna grab and put the other gasket on the other side like so. And then we're gonna put the bolts through the housing for the choke and the filter. Put those bolts through the gasket and the carburetor on both sides. Like that. We're going to take the linkage before you put the bolts in there. Make sure you take the linkage. It's easier to do before the carburetor is in a fixed position. Put that linkage on there, and then once the linkage is on, then you put the bolts into, oops, linkage popped off. There we go. And then once you get the linkage all hooked up, tighten the screws down, make sure they're nice and snug for a good seal. And then before we hook anything else up, you want to pull your trigger here to make sure your throttle's moving, which it is. Very good. You guys can see inside there my throttle linkage hooked up. The placement of that little bracket doesn't seem to really affect it too much, but we won't know for sure until we get it actually fired up and running. Make sure the concern is that it's not full throttle, but you'd be able to tell if what's full throttle. You move your handle all the way down, and if you can press it more, yeah, I can go a little bit more. I'm not sure if I'm going to worry about just that little bit, but let's see. Once we get all together, we'll know. And then the next step, once that's tight, you're going to hook your hoses back up underneath the carburetor. It's going to be hard for me to do with holding the camera too, so I'm going to do that real quick. I'm going to try to get the camera in here as best I can, but when you're in cramped areas like this, it helps to have a pair of nail nose pliers like this. You take the hose, and then you can manipulate it without getting your fat fingers in there. And pull it out. It comes through the rubber. You can pull it through the rubber to lengthen it. It's not fixed in there. And then just guide it up onto the spout coming off the carburetor. like so. Oh, that's not it. There we go. I know this view probably isn't really helping you guys. There we go. Don't pinch it too hard. You don't want to bust the hose. Oh, I didn't get that right. There we go. Not sure what that hole's for. Somebody who owned this before me must have made that hole. Extra horsepower? I don't know. Shove the new one in. So it's got some fresh gas in it, fresh carburetor, fresh spark plug. I haven't done any adjustments to the mixture screws or anything like that. I'm gonna leave them at their settings right now before I start. So what we want to do, you're gonna hit the primer ball until you feel or see the fuel come in there. There we go. All right, here we go. Oh, didn't like that. Something going on. Okay, that's pretty much it. Just you saw me adjusting the low idle. The mixture screw there is your idle mixture screw, and then there's your high mixture screw. So when you're full throttle, this is the one you adjust, and when you're idling, that's the one you adjust. But yeah, it's working great. I did notice though that when I tilt it down like this for a period of time, the pickup kind of comes out of the fuel down there. So I need to extend the hose out a little bit to reach that. But other than that, thing works fantastic. This carburetor worked great. Thanks to my friends over at HiPa. And yeah, so that's it. That's the rebuild for this carburetor, or for this blower. If you guys like what I do on this channel, please hit that subscribe button and also hit that like for me. All right, we'll see you in the next one.